had a daydream recently wondering what I would do if for some reason all my kit was stolen or destroyed in a house fire, and what I would do from the ground up knowing what I know now. All the mistakes I fell for, what to avoid to buy, and what to buy. I'm going to try to keep this as budget friendly as possible, however, understand that some things you have to buy once, cry once. Obviously, do what you want, I couldn't give a shit. However, I would say the meta is pretty much a 16-inch barrel with an LPVO, flashlight and sling with 10 mags. With the amount of build kits on the market today, I'd say $600 is a fairly realistic price for an AR build. With a decent budget of a $300 LPVO, duct tape a Walmart flashlight onto your rifle, and get a cheap Amazon 2-point sling, this is the most basic yet versatile AR-15 setup there is.
Would you stop that? Please!
The rucksack being the main component of your carrying load, I would not shy away from spending the money on getting something decent. If you're first starting out, I would steer towards the 75-liter packs or something big enough for 3 days in the field. I've personally been using the USMC ILB rucksack. You can find these for decent prices on the secondhand market, on eBay or TechSwap. The ILB is very modular, embedded in MOLLE, and comes with a helmet cover and quick release buckles. Now that you have your rucksack, start rucking and clock in those miles. Obviously we're going to talk about the Smersh. I've been running a Smersh SSO rig for over 2 years now with little to no issues. With the comeback of web gear on the LARP market, I heavily advise against paying $600 for belt kit. If you can find a Smersh, I would highly suggest getting one. Alternatively, something that's been catching my eye lately would be the old British PLC webbing. Extremely cheap and looks oddly familiar. Alice is also an option many people run. However, my personal experience with it, after running a Smersh for so long, makes me less so inclined. If you're looking for the higher end of the meta, I would suggest the NixieWorks Light Fighter rig. While never having personally used one, there has been several times where I've seen it firsthand, and I've been very tempted to buy one myself. The belt kit meta is pretty much 4 magazine pouches, 2 canteen covers, and a butt pack. Additionally, padded NVG cases or 100 round saw pouches for mess kits can also be used. I would also highly suggest getting a butt pad or something to insulate your ass. The same thing goes for chest rigs. A $200 Mayflower rig does the exact same thing as my Viper Recon Airsoft chest rig. An even cheaper option would be a modified Chi-Com rig. No, do not buy these overpriced modernized Chi-Com rigs. Get a $20 canvas rig, glue on some Velcro, and add a buckle and you're set.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me. Here too much raining.
Water filtration is one of the first routes needed to be covered to start prolonged field exercises, and thus needs prioritization. Water filtration is often way overhyped and really isn't that hard. Having more than one way to purify water on you at all times pretty much sets you away. The Filter AquaTap combo is a pretty solid setup. I recommend the Sawyer Mini. It is small, compact, relatively cheap, easy to use, and has universal threadings to attach to most water bottles. I highly advise against the life straw commonly seen among hikers, as its inability to drink elsewhere besides a body of water makes it less practical in a tactical environment. Keep your filter in your cargo pocket to ensure that even if you're separated from your gear, you can still provide yourself with clean water. For canteens, I've mainly been using smart water bottles. Again, with the use of the threads of the Sawyer Mini, you can dunk these bottles into water and just screw on your filter when you need to drink. If you're worried about durability, I've been running the same set of bottles for 6 months now with no issues, and I've heard stories of thru hikers going thousands of miles just using one bottle. Alternatively, collapsible 2-quart canteens, bladder bags, and 1-liter smart bottles are also great ways to carry even more water on your third line. For cold weather operations, consider a metal canteen for being able to unthaw your water. Alternatively, a civilian thermos can be used in its place. Just be sure not to put your insulated bottle into an open flame, trying to heat it.
Large pizza.
There are a few options for a mess kit. The biggest and most important item would be some sort of cup-oriented mess kit. A canteen cup or a butterfly cup are great mess kits and can be used and combined with some sort of jar to create an effective cold soaking kit. Alternatively, I found any German army style mess kit is also very handy for larger sized groups of people in which communal meals are more suited. An East German mess kit with its large pot and handle can be used to scale up and down sizes of meals. This allows one individual to be focused on cooking while everybody else can be focused on other tasks. This also allows less dishes need to be done at the end of the night.
What the fuck?
Camo again is something not often very understood. It's much more about the discipline than the art. Very overlooked is the fieldcraft, noise, and light discipline associated with camouflage. So for this exact reason, I'm going to pass over any specifics of camouflage patterns, as it really isn't relevant to the poor man. All I would say is shade your tops and bottoms differently as related to the season you're in. A nice pair of boots is a necessity. This, out of all things, is where I'd not be afraid to spend the most money. Low Saphirs have made itself the meta for the boot market, and I'd recommend the Cortex version. Pair your boots with a decent set of insoles and keep a spare set in case your boots get waterlogged. Socks are also top priority. I run the Merino Wool Darn Tough mid-calf tactical socks. They are quite expensive at almost $25 a pair, but extremely well made. For uniforms on an extreme budget, you can easily get a full OD green Austrian surplus set for less than 60 bucks. The quality is a little questionable for the pants, but the jacket is very well made. For the higher end pants, I'd recommend either the Anderson or the I Do Gear G3 Airsoft knockoffs. For around 80 to 100 bucks, you can basically get the real thing. And for those who doubt the durability, my friend has been running his for over a year.
Shit, get the fuck up, man. Push fuck that. Man, where that shit at?
A basic sleep system really isn't that much. The struggle is when it turns to extreme cold weather and it turns into a pay-to-win game. For absolute basics, the Whoopee will cover you up to 50 degrees and up. Getting any colder, a civilian sleeping bag paired with a Whoopee is your best bet to get anywhere up to high 30s to low 50s. Getting to freezing temperatures is where you start to get into real trouble. This season, I've been running a level 6 Caribbean Defense sleeping bag paired with a Dura X-Bed 8 inflatable mattress. The quality of sleep that I get with this system is insane, but the price is fairly steep. Sleep gear is truly a pay-to-win game. As far as shelter, a USGA poncho will get you pretty far from most of your needs. Either just wrapping yourself up in the poncho like a burrito, or setting up a proper poncho tent. For 15 bucks, it's a pretty decent option with a few downsides. Since the poncho is meant to be worn, it is typically less heavy duty than a tarp and more prone to wear and tear. Also, depending on its size, it's often barely large enough to cover your whole body. If this is an issue, just go for a regular tarp. If you're looking for a higher end option, a bivy sack does all the mentioned before, plus it protects you from insects and mosquitoes. A sleeping mat is also pretty common for sleep gear. The Z-Lite has seemed to make itself a meta for the market. It does its job as intended, but its low R value only really makes itself useful for warmer weather.
God damn it! We lost! We fucking super lost, man! Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
A compass is a precision instrument. Think about it the same as an optic. You get what you pay for. Do not fall for the scams of these knockoff compasses that are half the price. They are all garbage. Either get a decent baseplate compass or a real genuine Lusatic compass. Your ballpark should be around $100, but ultimately none of this matters if you don't even go out and train land navigation, so make sure you're actually educated on the skill. Ranger beads are dirt cheap and can be made DIY, Pinterest style at home. Not much more to say about that. Protractors help you plot coordinates on a map. Get the appropriate protractor scale according to your map scale.
Look here! Look here! Look! Listen!
Okay, so this video has been in my drafts for like over 3 months now, and I'm sick of like slowly progressing and editing on this. I was gonna go in way more detail and get into like the price points of everything, but I'm honestly gonna have to make a part 2 with how slow this is. If you find this content helpful or educational, consider following me on Patreon. Any amount helps, and it certainly goes towards funding these videos.